Hello everyone, my name is Ben and welcome to another TV Parts Today teardown tutorial. In today's video we are going to be taking the back off as well as removing the boards from the Sony unit on the table behind me. It is model number XBR-65X900E. If you need any help matching up parts, if you need any help with diagnosis or troubleshooting, give us a call at 930-212-1975 or send us an email at info@tvpartstoday.com. And let's get right into it. All right, we have the back of the TV laid out here. I did kind of want to go over before we get started. There are about 3 different sizes of screws that are on the back plate of this television. What I would suggest doing is taking a sheet of paper, making a quick diagram of the back plate, and then when we take a screw out of the TV, we can just set it right on that diagram so we know where exactly each one of these screws go back into the back plate when we're putting everything back together. The next thing is we do have a little secret compartment here. You can just lift up on this. There is a little recess here for you to get your finger in there. It just pops right up. There is a screw underneath there, so make sure that we're getting that popped up. All right, let's get all these screws out of here, and then we'll go over how to get the back plate actually off of the television. All right, so now that all the screws are out, we do want to do one more pass, just to make sure we didn't miss anything, just to make sure there's nothing keeping the back plate on. We don't want to cause any fracturing or breaking when we're trying to lift it up. So there are these little fins on the bottom. We can kind of use that to loosen up the bottom right there. And you can see there is a little bit of resistance in here. That, to me, kind of felt like it was some sort of adhesive, or maybe it was stuck to the tape or something like that. We just want to be really gentle when we lift up on this. And as it kind of starts to come away, we'll want to shift the entire thing up towards the top of the television. There are some clips that run across the very top. We want to make sure that we're sliding those out. And we can just lift this plate up and away, and that gives us access to the boards in the back of the unit. The first board that we're going to be removing is the main board. So what we'll want to do is get all of these connections away from the board first, and then we'll start working on these screws. Just to give ourselves a little bit more room, a little bit more space, we're going to go ahead and take this flashing off of here and set it off to the side. So for these connections, what we're going to do is we're going to start with these LVDS connections. There are 2 buttons, one on the left-hand side and one on the right-hand side. They are just 2 small rectangular buttons. We can depress those with our fingers, and then we can just walk that LVDS connection out of there. This one's going to be the same way. We'll depress the 2 buttons, and we'll pull that connection out of there. This ribbon cable connection is actually going to flip up with our fingernail. It's a small black plastic tab. We'll pop that up with our fingernail, and it comes right out of there. This guy is going to have a clip on the top that we're going to want to depress with our thumb or our thumbnail, and it just slides right out. This one is a similar style, but just a little bit different. So we'll depress that button, and the connection just walks out. This one is going to have 2 clips on the left and right side that we need to depress. Being a little stubborn for me here. So we'll depress those 2 clips, and then it comes right out of there. This is just a micro USB. It just comes right out. That's no issue at all. So there are a couple screws here. We do want to pay close attention to these 2 right here. This coax connection is not necessarily attached to the board, but is slid into a port. So we'll go ahead and get that guy out first. We can set this off to the side. We'll keep those screws with it. And we should just have about 5 or 6 screws that need to come out, and this should come away from the television. After we have the screws removed, this should just lift up and away. A little bit of adhesive underneath there. We do want to just be gentle. There it goes. And that's the main board. Next on the list is the LED driver board. There are a couple of ribbon cable connections here, as well as 1 clip right here. Let's go ahead and do those first, and we'll start managing with all these ribbon cables. So this guy, there's going to be a small clip in the middle. On the back, we just want to depress that with our thumbnail, and it pops right out of there. This is going to be a similar style to the one on the main board. We're just going to pop that black flap up with our fingernail, and the ribbon cable connection comes right out. These 3 are exactly the same. So we'll pop those flaps up, and then these should just come right out of there. We do want to be gentle with these. They can get kind of stuck sometimes or be difficult to kind of get out of here. We just want to take our time, loosen them up, and then they should just come right out. Now that we have those away, let's go ahead and get our screws out of here. So with the screws removed, this is going to free up this plate to move, but we have all of these ribbon cable connections. We can go ahead and release these ribbon cable connections from the main board. And now we should just be able to lift this up and fold it down and back. Being very gentle, we don't want to cause too much stress or creasing on these ribbon cable connections. Now that those are all away, I believe this should just lift up and out, and that is the LED driver board. Next on the list is the T-Con board, and this guy is pretty buried here. We've got 4 screws right here keeping the plate over the T-Con. We have 2 more screws here keeping the IR sensor on, as well as 2 screws here keeping the Wi-Fi board in place. So let's try to make ourselves as much room here. Let's try to do this in a way that makes sense. So first, let's go ahead and get the clips removed from the T-Con board. This guy is going to have a small lever on the back of the clip that we just depress with our finger or fingernail, and it comes right out. These 2 connections are going to have buttons on the right and left side that we want to push down, and then the whole thing slides out of that connection. And then once that is out, then we head to the next one here, depress those clips, and slowly work it out of that connection. Being a little stubborn with me here, bear with me. There it goes. All right, so now that we have those 2 clips, as well as this clip out of here, let's try to work with these wires. There is a small plastic tab here that we can pop up. It just has a little clip tab on there, and then we'll go ahead and get these pieces of tape up as well. And this should just give us a little bit more space to work with, just a little bit more room to breathe when we're trying to get this off of here. So let's go ahead and start with the very, very top, and let's get this IR sensor removed. So after we have that away, there is just one connection right here on the IR sensor. It looks like it is just the style where we depress the clip with our fingernail, and it should walk right away. We can just set this off to the side. Now let's get the Wi-Fi board here away. Let's go ahead and do the connections first. So this tab right here for the antenna, it's just a small gold piece that slides onto the connection for the Wi-Fi board. It just pops right off. Do be gentle. We don't want to pull this little gold tab off of there. We don't want to do that. This guy has a clip on the back that we're going to depress with our finger or our fingernail, and it slides right out of the Wi-Fi board. We're just going to get these 2 screws away, and that should come off. So now that the Wi-Fi board is free, we can just set this off to the side. Let's do a little bit more of this wire management here. Let's get these pieces of tape up. And you can start to see this whole thing is moving around much more freely. That's what we're looking for. We just kind of want it out of our way, somewhere where it's not going to be lost. So we do have, it looks like 4 very fine tip screws here. I'm going to use a small number 1 screwdriver just to get these out. So after we have those screws loose, we do have 2 right here that are keeping the plate on. So we got one here, one here. After those screws come away, we should be able to lift this whole plate up and away, setting it off to the side. And it looks like we got a couple more screws here actually connected to the T-Con board, as well as 2 ribbon cable connections. So let's do the connections first. We're going to pop those up with our fingernail, and these should just come right out of here, no problem at all. And then we'll get these 3 screws. And that is the T-Con board in this Sony unit. All right, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you need any help matching parts, if you need help with diagnosis, or just have any questions about TV repair in general, you can give us a call at 930-212-1975 or send us an email at info@tvpartstoday.com. And we will see you next time.